welcome to the chat, Communication to Help Activate Teens. I'm your host, Chateau Waters, lead counselor for Clayton County Public Schools. And today we're chatting about careers. We have several guests joining us today from all walks of life, and I know that you'll walk away with something very helpful that they'll share with us. Joining us today, we have Mr. Sam Crenshaw, sports reporter for WXIA.
Thanks so much for having me.
Mrs. Selena Cooks, Director of Quality at Mike Hart.
Thank you.
Our very own Ebony Chillis, Coordinator of CTAE.
Thank you.
You already know Dr. Douglas Hendricks, our Chief Human Resource Officer. And last but not least, Ms. Melanie Snare, Executive TV Producer and Marketing Manager for Comcast. Hello and welcome.
Thank you for having us.
All right, very different backgrounds. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you started in your industry.
Want me to start?
Sure.
Okay, start with me. Gosh, for me, I guess it started practically while I was still in high school. I always had a fascination with broadcasting. Didn't think I would be in front of the camera, but always fascinated with broadcasting. And I got an opportunity while still in college to start working at a local radio station, and just learn from there. Let people know what I want to do, and I encourage young people all the time. You want to do something, let people know that you want to do it, and then prepare yourself, because the worst thing can happen is an opportunity to come along and you not be prepared. That's true in athletic competition or in anything. The worst thing is to not be prepared when you're called on. So that's what I recommend for anyone. That's been one of my keys to success.
Hi. I'm Director of Quality at Mike Hart Incorporated, which is a local pharmaceutical manufacturer. I started there in 1997 as a chemist. I had a BS in chemistry, and I actually worked my way through the ranks, and now I'm Director of Quality there, where I oversee the quality control as well as the quality assurance departments. We have about 200 employees. We perform manufacturing, analysis, as well as R&D, research and development of the pharmaceuticals. So it's a fun, challenging career. We have to deal with the FDA, DEA, OSHA, all types of federal agencies.
I would say that my story is similar, and it did start in high school. I majored in biotechnology, and so upon graduation, my mother said, "You're going to be a doctor." And I said, "I am." She said, "Yeah, I'm from Buffalo, New York, so I moved to Georgia." And I majored in mass media, radio, television, film. And like you said, I interned very early on as a freshman, and I had very good relationships with my professors. And all of them kind of took me under their wing and nurtured me for the field of television. So by the time I graduated, I had already worked the Olympics, I had already worked Super Bowls and MTV and BET Awards and all that good stuff. And so I had built a reputation for myself. I worked for Tyler Perry for a long time. I did all of his stage plays as a video stage manager. And I was just burnt out. So I said, well, I want to go into education. And so thus is how I ended up in education, even here in Clayton County, in the CTAE, which stands for Career Technical and Agricultural Education, where broadcast video is definitely a pathway where students can gain experience.
Well, I guess my story is pretty much a normal progression through education. I started as a teacher, had some success early, had some opportunities to go into administration, went into administration as an assistant principal at a high school. Through luck and good fortune and blessings, had an opportunity to go from there into a principalship at a middle school. One day I saw that they had a vacancy for director of HR, and it was something that I was always intrigued with, and so I decided to throw my name in the hat. Got an opportunity to interview. The job was offered to me. I initially said I don't know if I want to do that because I thought I was going to miss my kids. Prayed over it, decided that I was going to take the job. 2 years later, I found myself as the chief of human resources and working with some outstanding people throughout the district.
I think my story has been one of evolution. It's a little bit more unique. I didn't know what I wanted to do at an early age, and I was very involved in my extracurricular life. I was a dancer, and so I danced in college, which took up a lot of time. I did double major as well at the University of North Carolina. But I moved to Atlanta to pursue dancing in the NFL and a career, and that career was in marketing for real estate companies, which I loved marketing, but I wasn't completely fulfilled, and I knew that. And I think my story is one of really absorbing everything and everyone that's around you and taking advantage of your network and just really paying attention. And through all of the people that I met my first few years in Atlanta, I decided that I wanted to go into the production world. And so one of my degrees was in communication studies, so I was familiar with that world. I moved over to production several years ago. Same thing, really loved what I was doing. Other opportunities kept coming, and the Comcast opportunity kind of presented itself to me a few years ago. And so now I am the director of marketing for all of Comcast local on-demand TV shows, as well as the executive TV producer. So my job's really fun, very creative, and I kind of wear a million different hats, from creativity of developing concepts for TV shows, hiring crews to implement those, making sure that we effectively market the shows so that we're not just putting stuff out there and people aren't watching it. So it's really fun. I get to do a lot of different things, and I feel like that evolution, now I'm where I am supposed to be and where I'm meant to be, but it wasn't something that I knew at the age of 18 or even 22 when I was graduating college. So.
Thank you. Most of you mentioned your interest began in high school. Ms. Chillis, what are some things that we're doing as a district to prepare our students for their future goals, their careers, and just to let them know what opportunities are available to them?
Well, career technology and agricultural education, CTAE, prepares students for a skill or trade. And it starts really in 6th grade, and it continues on to 12th grade. So students that are interested in various careers, be it ag science or business ed, culinary arts, broadcast video, marketing, they have an opportunity to really get the hands-on experience in the classroom. And they also get to, in high school, end with a certification or credential that certifies that they are ready for the workforce, ready for college, really just ready for an entry-level position. So career technology education, I don't think that it was around when I was in school, but if you compare it to maybe culinary arts, it may be, for me and for you all, probably was home ec. And the difference was I got out and I knew how to sew very well. I knew how to cook great meals. The difference now is students are going to have a Pro Start certification, and meaning that they could go to a Le Cordon Bleu, they could prepare certain meals and actually, make a decent amount of money while they are in college, or if they decide that that is going to be where they blossom in that field.
I know in the business world we talk about building a brand a lot. What are some ways that students can start building their brands here in high school, even in elementary school? What does that mean to a student and to you all building a brand?
I'll start. I think building a brand is really identifying what your goals are and what it is that you want to achieve, what message you want to put out there to everyone as to who you are, what you stand for, and what you're trying to accomplish, and being consistent in that brand. Branding is very important from the standpoint of people being aware that it's you and that it's, something that's unique about you. You want to make yourself stand out in some way. So I think it's definitely very important and something that you can do in a lot of different ways, whether it's going out and getting experience, attending things like this where you're, exposing yourself to panels and really engaging and asking questions so that you can identify who you are and what you want to do and putting that brand out there.
I think also taking advantage of summer internships, that is key. I learned that in my undergraduate matriculation. There are just so many opportunities out there for students during the summertime when they're off to go and enroll, and sometimes you even get paid, but you get that exposure. So when you graduate from high school, graduate from college, that particular company or that particular institution, they already know you, they know your face, and it'll make your path a lot easier in the future.
And what is work ethic? I hear students often say, well, this is not a job, this is school, so I can come to school late, I can turn my work in, when I get ready, and it may not look a certain way. how do you, in your experiences, how do you relate your work ethic to your ability to advance as quickly as you all have advanced?
Well, I think everything starts with a system of values. Your work and all of your work products should be, or should exemplify, those values that you already have instilled. And so coming to work on time, being a cordial person when you get to work, making sure that you're carrying out your duties to the best of your ability, those things all tie back into your ethics and your work ethics. And so it starts there. So one of the things that people viewing this show or thinking about going into the work world should maybe think about doing is just looking at their self and saying, okay, what are my values? That would be a great place to start when you're talking about employment. What are my values? What are my talents? And now how do I tie those into all the things that I'll be doing? That's a great place to start internally with your ethics.
I think in terms of what I do or ended up doing, there's really not a clock. And sometimes you have to put that extra time in, that extra effort. People, respect that. It's also, you have to think of it as an investment in things that you're going to get to do. Spend more time around it, maybe make more connections, and let more people know that's what it is that you want to pursue. Just putting the extra time in, I think, really helps.
Something I'll say to touch on that, I recently went on an official college campus visit just last month with my niece, who is wanting to go to the University of North Carolina. She's a junior, and so we did the official visit, and I sat there listening to the admissions representative, and it was very interesting. And I would say for you all, go as early, don't wait until your senior year, go as early as you can. And my niece was so thankful when we walked out, and so was I, that we had gone as a junior for her, because she learned so much that what UNC specifically is looking for in their candidates for students, that you can apply over your junior year or over your sophomore year, freshman year, whatever. So I don't think there's ever too early of a time to look into things. But one thing that he said was the worst, you have to do recommendation letters. And they actually received a recommendation letter from a teacher or a counselor or someone, and it was not good. And it was like, this is a really hard thing for me to write. I don't feel like I personally know this student well enough to really speak to their, values and ethics, etc. So I think it's so important at the high school level, at all levels, to not think that what you're doing isn't going to impact you later on. So know that you need to be upholding who you are and the things you want to accomplish at a career level at the high school level as well, because it will come back to get you sometimes. That's true.
And how many of you knew that 40 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, you would be 10 years ago, 5 years ago, that you would be in the position that you're in now? I know my personal story, I didn't know you go to college after high school. So I don't know where the world came together, but just having teachers and counselors to direct me. So what are some things, that adversity that you faced that maybe you wanted to give up? What pushed you along the way? Because our students, they come from all walks of life. So somewhere in your journey, you'll hit some roadblocks, and just some things, some encouraging things for our students to press forward.